Hi, Stevic. Welcome back to Linear Rock.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Great to have you back. And finally, 12 Foot Ninja are back with a new album, Vengeance, which is out October 15, 2021. It's your third record that you actually started conceiving when you passed through Milan on tour and in our studios for an interview. It was May 2017. So apparently it took quite a while for this album to take shape. What would you say?
Yes, I agree. It's taking a very long time for it to take shape.
You like to work, like architects in layers on your crazy stuff, which actually goes beyond music with the visuals, the production of the shows, and so on. Did something change during this particular period we are all living? Did maybe this tendency, and approach of yours of working like architects become stronger in a way?
Yeah, I think it was a kind of matter of circumstance as well, the pandemic and all that kind of thing. It sort of helped. I guess our method helped to be able to get through it and still stay productive. So yeah, I would say it did sort of strengthen. And each time we sort of refine our process and look at what we could learn from the previous, efforts. And yeah, I think we're all very proud of this and but also anxious to get it out because we've had to sit on it for a little while because of COVID. So it's exciting that it's almost here.
Can we say so that, the pandemic was a sort of accelerator of the process and that maybe it brought some new, maybe darker colors to your music? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the writing was probably done kind of prior to the massive effects of the pandemic. But I think the space and the delay with touring probably just allowed more time to spend on things like the clips and the other content, which was really time consuming. I wouldn't have made a video game if we were touring. I took that on as a project and so if anything, I think it enabled us to focus on sort of other elements of the project, which we probably wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So, yeah.
Since you mentioned the video game, tell us, about it, the idea, how, did it came about and how will it be available?
Yeah, so the game, when we shot the video for Long Way Home, the first single, we did it all on green screen and I drew the backgrounds. And when I drew all this art, I kind of thought it would be cool if there was a simple little platformer game that you had to play in order to unlock the video. And I just kept building and building and building on it and then brought on another coder. And then I spent about 8 months on that full time.
Wow.
Just to sort of learn that process, how to make games. And because I've always been interested in animation and drawing and all that kind of stuff. And then we recently kickstarted the game and then we hit our target. So hopefully next year, sort of towards the end of next year, we'll put the game out on Steam, which will be hopefully available to play on Xbox and PlayStation as well.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so it's kind of something that started small and then it just kept growing. Yeah.
Does this started because you are like, a video game freak or something like that?
I've always liked video games. I mean, I admittedly don't play them as much as I'd like just because of time. Like I feel guilty if I'm playing a video game when there's so many other things I could be doing. But I'm trying to make more time to play games because it's good, it's good to take your mind away from things or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've always sort of been fascinated by it and never really felt like I had the bandwidth, the time. So it's one of those things I've always wanted to do, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to give it a shot. And people seem to like it. It's kind of an old school style. So yeah, it's just another creative outlet, I suppose. That's been born out of the pandemic.
So you said it's old school stuff, but what sort of video game is gonna that be, and which are your favorite games to play at home?
Sure. Yeah, it's this will be when it's the final game will be a platformer and a side scroller and a fighter. So it's a combination of like, you know, old school kind of Mario Brothers gameplay mixed with Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, that kind of thing. So it's going to be a bit of a splice of genres, like the music, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I love playing those old. I've got like a DOS emulator, and I play old PC games that, you know, were sort of out in the early 90s, when, you know, gameplay was a lot simpler. I also like AAA games like Halo, and I've been getting into VR gaming as well, which I find really interesting. So yeah, I mean, I just like video games overall because I think they kind of combine the interactivity, the art, the music, like all of it's got a kind of it kind of comes together in an interesting way. Plus storytelling, you know, it's another way of telling a story.
And will I be able like to play Stevic in the game, or choose another band member? Or
well, who knows? You know, it's not a bad idea. At the moment, it's based around the puppet that's in the music video called Bruce-Nick. But I think it'd be fun if the band could make some cameo appearances. That would be cool.
Cool. So Stevic, how many of your hours in a day were still dedicated, you know, to music and to 12 Foot Ninja during the last year or so at home?
Yeah, probably before the album, like when we finished the album and production and stuff, I'd say, you know, I'd spend, oh gosh, it's hard. It's hard because it depends if there's deadlines. Like, so if there's a deadline, I'll work all, you know, I'll easily do 14 hours, you know, and not think about it. When there's not deadlines, you know, like I got to say, since I've had my the Pfizer jab, I've been feeling really lazy for the last sort of the week after each jab. So I felt a bit guilty that I aren't doing as much as I usually do. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm probably a bit of a workaholic. That's why I need to make more time to play video games, you know, to get sort of, you know, some balance.
I see.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a healthy amount of time is if you can fit it into like a 5-hour window, like, and do a little bit and also like go for a walk or something, leave the studio. But yeah, I mean, it's, I think it was always something. I would say it's a full-time thing. Like, it never stops, you know, there's always something to do. So yeah, I think normally I'd like to do just a regular day, like a day's work on the band stuff. But yeah.
And how is life now down under?
Well, we're still in lockdown. It's actually, we've broken the world record for the longest lockdown in history, I think. So, I mean, it's good. I think other than the lockdown, which I think is ending at the end of the month, but we have a lot of, like, our vaccination rate's gone up. So hopefully soon we can get back to some kind of, you know, normality. It has been pretty weird. Like, I don't really see humans. It's been that way for quite a while. So yeah, it's but you know, it could be a lot worse. So I think there's a lot of things to be grateful for.
And how did it work within the band? I mean, did you meet or did you work, you know, through the internet, through the web?
Pretty much through the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, we caught up for dinner like before everything went crazy. But a lot of our interaction, you know, we do a lot of stuff over Zoom, you know, sharing files. Like, I lived interstate for a year as well, and it didn't really make much difference to how we work. I think, Yeah, it would be cool to see each other more, but it's definitely been difficult. We haven't been able to rehearse for months just because we
Wow.
can't leave our houses. Like we can't get together. So I'm looking forward to actually getting together to rehearse for this upcoming tour, you know. I think
So,
we're all a bit anxious about that.
yeah, but what about the videos? Did you actually meet to do those, or how did you work?
Oh, the videos, we shot the majority of the footage probably pre-pandemic. We
Okay.
did Over and Out's the most recent video we shot. That was done, oh God, I can't remember, maybe a few months ago, sort of when it wasn't so hectic with the lockdowns, we slipped it in.
Yeah.
That was all the stuff we shot in Australia. Yeah, but I think we've been lucky. We managed to just slip in all the stuff whenever we could and just rolled with it. And fortunately for us, we hadn't released the album when the pandemic hit. So we were able to kind of make a choice to kind of hold off to when we could tour, which was really hard. Like it was really hard to do because we really wanted to share it. And that's probably been the weirdest thing is making an album and then basically just putting it in the drawer. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a weird feeling. So we're super excited to just experience it through other people. But yeah.
So, what's this sense of vengeance about?
So vengeance is pretty much the, I guess, the key theme for Kiyoshi, who is the 12-foot ninja. That's the protagonist in the story. And he's sort of, you know, I guess he's seeking vengeance for his family. You know, that was his primary motivation. But like a lot of journeys, you know, he gets there's side quests and he gets sort of taken away with different adventures and all that kind of stuff. But vengeance is pretty much the overarching theme of the 12-foot ninja story. And it was one of the tracks, you know, the title track of the album. And I don't know, it just seemed to fit with the kind of video gamey 80s kind of vibe that we have going on in this album. So, and it looks good in that font. It kind of, you know, it feels like Blade Runner or something. It's kind of cool.
And has it also something to do with the feelings that, you know, change in all of us?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think I'm probably a vengeful kind of person.
So normally pandemic or non-pandemic?
Yes. Yeah, I think there's something satisfying about a good vengeance story, you know. I think a lot of people probably like seeing sort of justice served in some way or another. And I think it's a pretty classic ninja kind of tale, you know.
Yeah, it is. But why is it perfect now?
Now, as in the timing.
Yeah.
The timing. Well, I
Yeah.
think, you know, I think if I was going to zoom out, it could be kind of like us coming back from the abyss. You know, we've just walked in from the snow and now it's time, you know, to slay. So.
Right. Okay. So you talked about a game, but the album comes also along with a high fantasy novel called The Wyvern and the Wolf.
Yes.
A novel
this one here. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Wow.
This one's
it's pretty big one.
That's what she said.
But actually, it has been like several years in the making, and now I see why. Is it a combination that it got finished just now or not?
Well, I mean, we did want to put it out with Outlier, you know, so it's been a work in progress, and it just keeps. It's like that. Nick Snelling, the author, it reminds me of that scene in Forrest Gump when he starts running and then he just keeps running and running and running. It started like that. It wasn't, you know, we were going to do a much smaller kind of version, and he just started writing and world building and, you know, creating this really rich kind of universe. So we just kind of let him do his thing, and, you know, he's written an insane amount of content, and it's it's really high quality, awesome story writing. And so, yeah, I mean, it did kind of just coincide that he, was able to get it done in this time frame. And yeah, so we're sort of all of these. There's a saying, all the chickens come home to roost,
Okay.
so we've got all of this stuff that just happened to happen at the same time, and I think, yeah, it's a combination of working towards goals, but also delays with the pandemic. Sort of, we just kept working,
Yeah.
so, we just shifted focus because live just wasn't practical. So it's like, well, what else can we do? And there wasn't a moment. There wasn't a moment of rest, like for me. Like I'm sort of getting touring will be rest.
Okay. Okay.
We get to chill out on the tour bus and play shows. That seems quite relaxing.
Yeah. And about touring, since you mentioned that, what do you miss and what you don't miss at all about touring?
I love the thing that I really miss is, and I never thought I would say this, but the human connection that you have when you can experience people sort of enjoying the music in real time and the energy of the room, and then talking to people afterwards and getting to meet people and stuff. That seems like a million years ago, like because of this pandemic. But I think that's what I've missed the most. Is it's really quite special to meet people and to share that sort of moment. Like a lot of the music I produce it all here, like in this room, and then we can be over in Italy, playing the stuff that was made here. Like that's pretty awesome. So I definitely miss that. I think what I don't miss, generally, it's not what I miss. It's probably more the complication of touring, when you've got family and stuff. Like it's because you've got to be away for so long. That's probably, the hard part. But also having a toilet is useful as well. So I'd probably say a toilet. Yeah, a real toilet. So yeah, that would probably be it.
Okay, back to the album. So Start the Fire and The Joker. How do they go hand in hand? I heard that there's a particular connection since the very first inspiration of the song. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I think when we were writing that song, the Joker seemed to fit like how it was molding. It kind of felt a lot like the story in that, and then I was able to kind of draw from that and share it with Nick, and we both connected on that particular concept. It became really clear. That story of I guess whether it's a society or whatever can push people to a point where they become what they're accused of being. And it can be ugly, and I think it's that kind of idea of people being pushed to a brink, and crossing a line. It feels a lot like the Joker story. I think I empathize with the Joker in the recent film. You sort of see this unfortunate fellow and just, he gets mistreated and laughed at, and then it just sort of makes him dark. And I think it's a good sort of tale about, good and bad people. I don't think they exist. I think there's people, and everyone's got the potential to be bad or good, So it just pays to be nice to people because you never know,
So you empathize more with the Joker than Batman?
Well, Batman's my favorite superhero of all time. So I'd say I always would empathize with Batman. Batman's he's my hero. I've got one right here actually. This is the Dark Knight.
Oh wow!
If you can see it.
Yeah, pretty big one. Great.
Yeah, this is I love the Dark Knight trilogy. But yeah, I mean the Joker. When I say I empathize with him, I don't necessarily see myself in him so much, but I can understand, I can understand that kind of situation. Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of a lot of people's response to that film is kind of, they had a new sense of empathy for that character, as opposed to just someone who appeared and is evil, like for no reason,
So you think he would like the song Start a Fire and that it would
Well, I
fit
don't know.
in?
I think maybe, I think he had different tastes. He had different musical tastes in the film. But yeah, maybe it's got a bit of there's an 80s vibe in there. Maybe he'd dig those parts. And then when it
Right.
got heavy, it might have been, a bit too much. Maybe that's more Batman style.
All right.
Could be a collaboration.
Good. And tell us about Over and Out, a song that features Tatiana of Jinjer, a great band you shared also the stage with. Does it take such a strong woman to upset the balance within 12 Foot Ninja?
Well, I mean, she weirdly with Tatiana, I just think she's great. Like, irrespective of being a woman, she just happens to be a woman. That's a side thing.
What do you mean?
I think we needed a sense of urgency with that song when we first did it, and we thought it would really be great to have a female vocalist with a higher register, because Nick has a very baritone voice, and then
Right.
so. And because we had that relationship, we played with these guys in Ukraine and Russia, and that was so cool and welcoming. And Tatiana's just a force, to be reckoned with. So she was the first person that came up. And I mean, I think it does something cool. Like, it does sort of add this other, like, her and Nick kind of blend really nicely. And Nick actually did all the vocal arranging for that. And yeah, the harmonies work great, and she does some sort of guttural stuff, but it's not right in the front. It's more about her singing.
Right.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe 12 Foot Ninja should have some female energy.
Yeah.
I don't
Would be
think
interesting.
Yeah, why not?
But with her, did you actually work in the same studio, or it was, a long distance collaboration?
Long distance.
Also for the video, same thing?
Yeah, we had to. Yeah, so she shot her parts on green screen in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So the video was kind of shot over 3 years in 3 countries.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, it's great when you respect the people that you're collaborating with, And
Right.
she's just shown, basically, the gender thing, I feel like, is irrelevant. Like, it's like she's just gone, I can do everything and bring my own vibe. It's awesome. I love it. I think, and it's inspired a lot of people as well, which I think is cool.
Did she contribute, to the lyrics or the track was finished when she entered the scene?
No, the track was definitely done, and Nick sort of sung her parts and then sent her those parts, and then she tracked it in Ukraine and then sent it back, and we mixed it here. So, but yeah, we explained the theme, and she was right into it. So, it was really cool. And the clip, she didn't quite know what to expect with the music video. She kind of got to see it when it was finished. And I think she liked it. So that's cool.
Good. So you like to define 12 Foot Ninja as heavy fusion. Is it still a fitting definition? At what point, of this wonderful ninja story are we at? Did this evolve, as you planned, or you got surprised by yourself?
Can I just say, you're one of my favorite interviewers. Your questions are so well thought out. You're excellent.
Thank you.
I want to give you that compliment first.
Thank you.
No worries. So yeah, heavy fusion. I mean, I think it's as close as what we can get to something that kind of makes sense. You know, I mean, I'm open to if someone's got a better idea, but it feels weird to. I don't think we're a metal band because we sort of break a bunch of stereotypes that I think would, you know, I think people would be like, you're not a metal band. Like if we play Latin music or, you know, experiment with different genres. And so that's the fusion word. So it's not really, it's not rock fusion, which is more jazz rock like this. It's more of a fusion of styles. And the heavy vibe is because it's not necessarily metal all the time. It's inspired by a lot of metal and some of it's metal, but so that was the best we could do to really come up with words that exist. Like we could have made up something like Flalalupos or just a weird word to, you know, make up a name. But I think, yeah, it's hard because, you know, pigeonholes, I always say, are full of pigeon shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And, you know, being so unique, actually, do you feel it like a double-edged sword some way, you know? And do you care, actually, you know, of success and all that stuff? Or you just want to do what you want to do?
Another great question. It is a double-edged sword because, you know, if we didn't do that, it would be more accessible to more people. Like that's something that we've been aware of for a while, but at the same time, it's a compulsion. Like I find it impossible to do that. I don't think I'd enjoy it. And it's weird. It's sort of, yeah, we came to terms with, I guess, that motivation. Like, what is it? Is it intrinsic, extrinsic? And if it's extrinsic, that means you just do whatever, you know, you do whatever to get famous and money. But for us, I think it's very intrinsic. We have to like it. Like we have to believe in it. And we have to kind of follow our instincts. And hopefully, you know, we're trying to find our tribe, you know what I mean? Like we're trying to find other people that kind of like the same thing. And hopefully, you know, we found that to a large extent. Like the people that support 12 Foot Ninja, we tend to have a lot in common with them. Like, you know, when we sit down and chat, like we'll like the same movies, you know, the same video games, the same books, same pop culture, and then the same artists. And, you know, yeah. A lot of them are quite funny people, you know, and often we have quite intelligent conversations with a lot of our fans. That's really cool. It kind of tells us that our barometer is finding like-minded people. Whether that is commercially wise is yet to present itself, you know. Yeah. So yeah, it is a double-edged sword, but there's no alternative.
But if there's one thing that changed, you know, from the original plan during the evolution, what is it?
I think it's the emphasis on lyrics. I think we really sort of, this last album focused a lot on lyrics and really sort of trying to make a concise point in a song. Like, and I guess taking songwriting back to its, you know, traditional purpose, which was to express some kind of emotion or to express an idea and to have that clear to the listener, as opposed to a lot of, I guess, music in the progressive scene is full of surrealism and abstract riddles and stuff that isn't necessarily immediately clear. So I think we wanted to try a different approach and, you know, make something a bit more concise and direct. So that's probably the biggest thing that we've fixated on for this album is we hope people, when they hear it, it's quicker, like to understand.
We all know you're the mastermind behind the band, but at what point, you know, the band actually become a band during, you know, the process, the evolution of 12 Foot Ninja?
Well, I think what's cool about the guys in 12 Foot Ninja is we've learnt to collaborate and play to strengths and also trust. You know, there's a lot of trust in opinion. So, for example, like I might write a lot of drum parts, but I give them to Russ, the drummer, and he will go, "Oh, I think this would be better." And like if we do it like this, and it always improves. So it's cool to. He's a very humble guy, like, and that's rare to be able to actually, he'll go, "Oh, that's a really cool drum idea," and then he'll work it out and then tweak it and stuff. That's really great. And Rowan is an excellent guitar player. He's a great arranger, and his ideas and his writing has just become such an important part of the band. And his melodic ideas are really good, like with vocal melodies. So the fact that we trust him, he'll write a vocal melody, and Nick will be like, "That's a really cool melody," and he'll use that. And then Nick's lyrics and his vocal sensibilities and so it all it's about finding that dynamic where you can trust each other, but also look to the skill sets that people, their core skills. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
yes, you did. And for the videos, is the same thing? I mean, it starts from your idea and then it develops as a band, or you're actually the mastermind behind those as well?
I think it's more like I want to do this, and they're like, "Okay, let's," because I think it's worked. It's worked so far. The videos have turned out pretty wild, and just I guess you get to know people's skills as well. Like Nick had to be the guy in Over and Out, the journeyman that was finding the Vegemite in the forest, because it suited his character the most, and I would obviously be the goblin behind the door because that's my kind of character. So,
okay.
So yeah, I think it's just finding where everyone sits, and then you can just kind of amplify it.
So Stevic, you revealed you like to film every 12-foot ninja show. How this actually started and why? Is it, a way to put yourself in the audience shoes, or should I say eyes and ears, to be able then, to refine and improve the show? Is that, actually your aim, your goal?
Yeah, I mean, I started filming, I filmed a lot of shows, and it was all of those things. I wanted to kind of go back and relive it, because in the moment you can't really pay attention to everything. So I like to kind of, try and be an audience member. I like to see the crowd and see what they react to, because I often can't look at them all the time because I've got to concentrate on what I'm doing. So yeah, it's a little bit weird, I suppose. Like, did you watch the video where the guy found his hat? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I love the research. Are you Batman? You could be. You're a detective.
I'll never tell you. I'm Batgirl.
Batwoman.
Batwoman.
Yeah. I think I think it's funny to. It's really funny to be a fly on the wall. Like, you learn a lot. And I think it also is kind of cool for the audience to wonder, like, whether, like, we're going to realize who they are, like they're not just invisible, like everyone is there. Like, we see them. So.
But do you actually have the time to go through, all those hours of recordings? Maybe during the lockdown, I don't know. And
no.
Do you have any idea, of doing something with it someday?
Well, I was trying to capture like a bunch of multicam recordings to maybe edit into something, but yeah, I think there's a real art form to recording live shows. That's when I sort of stopped doing. I've got hard drives of like multi-camera tours, wow. And it's like it's boring to watch back because it's stagnant camera. Like I think the coolest stuff is when you've got movement in the footage and all that stuff. So yeah, I can say to people who come to the shows, don't be paranoid. I'm not secretly filming you to watch later.
Do you maybe mark, the evenings where something special happens so that you can research back quickly or something like that?
I name them all. Like when on my hard drive, I've got all the shows where it's happened. But yeah, I think if we remember on the night if something funny happens, like we go back and have a look. Because sometimes, when you get into the groove with a tour, things tend to like evolve and in-jokes happen. We start jamming on things and it can be funny. Yeah.
Okay, since we're talking about shows, last two questions about touring. What's your feeling now, approaching the next tour, whenever it will be? Do you feel more like that, an era has finished or that a new era is about to start?
I think I haven't got over the anxiety of preparing to play. Like, I think... So yeah, I haven't quite got to that stage of consideration, but I probably would think of it as a new era. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a new world. Like, since the last tour, like a lot's changed, and so I think a new era would be my answer.
Okay, Australia is very far away from us. In fact, it's night there and it's like afternoon here. But right now, will we see 12 Foot Ninja back to Europe and Italy anytime soon? What would you think?
Yeah, well, I thought we had some dates in Italy. I don't know whether I'm revealing something I'm not supposed to reveal, but 2022 is the year. We will be in Europe, and I'm pretty certain Italy is on the list. It's been great. Italy's been awesome to us, so I would be very surprised if we don't come back. We love it.
We love you too. So what's immediately next for you guys right now? Okay, you have the release of the record, but what's immediately next?
After that, I think it's really just seeing out this lockdown so we can start rehearsing. Yeah. Like that would be number one priority, is just, probably a lot of press. Like once the album's out and everything is out, there'll be like a lot of interviews and stuff, but just getting back to the playing, like actually, knowing how to play these songs that we've created. Yeah, there's one track on the album I'm sort of dreading working on because it's so random. It's like memorizing a page of telephone numbers or something. But yeah, there's a lot of work in that phase alone. And then the best feeling is when you've got it nailed and you just get to travel and play and meet people. That's where I want to. That's the goal. That's where I want to get to.
I'm sure you have your own rehearsal room. I cannot imagine how is it, but
yes,
is it a crazy place?
No, it's we hire a room and we just book it out for like months, and we've got to know the owner of the studio really well, Hydra Studios in Burwood, and there's a vending machine that's got like chips and stuff, and we hang out there, and it sort of becomes our second home. And I think probably we've been going there for so long, like probably 14 years or something. So there's been generations of bands coming and going, and we're there on the chairs eating chips, Yeah. So
there's a good atmosphere. Right there.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah.
Okay. So thanks, Stevic, for your time and for this interview. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you soon back, in person. That would be great.
Thank you.
Have a nice night. And
you too.
Ciao.
You're an absolute legend, Barbara. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ciao,
See you later.
Love
bye-bye.
You. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.